I have some tips for you to try and make sure that your case is accepted to USCIS instead of being rejected. Hi, my name is Audra Doyle, and I am the owner and attorney of Doyle Law here in Atlanta, Georgia. And over the past year, I have had the most rejected cases that I have ever encountered with USCIS. And 95% of those rejections were incorrect rejections. So we're going to have to relearn and redo our way of thinking on how to file immigration cases. And that's what we have done. Each time that I see a case rejected for a silly reason, we immediately turn the case around, send it back, and ask for supervisor review. So this video is going to give you my best practices on how to avoid these silly rejections and get your case past the mailroom. Now, as a background, why is this happening? Why are so many cases being unfairly rejected? Well, there's a simple reason. Immigration now has a lot of new people in the mailroom, and I don't think that these contract workers have been fully trained. They haven't been on the job very long, and so they are making mistakes that an experienced mailroom worker would not make. For example, if they mail the case back to you and say you should have submitted 2 checks instead of 1, if they mail the case back to you and say a page was missing, but when you look at the packet, there is the page. Those are mistakes that are happening because the Immigration Service has new people working in the mailroom. That is my theory of why this is happening. So here are some best practices for you. Number 1 is that immigration changes all the time. That's why I like being an immigration lawyer. I'm not bored. It's not boring whatsoever. Sometimes it's too exciting. So in the way that immigration changes all the time, one of the things that I notice is that the address changes all the time. Where I sent a case last year could very well be different from where I send a case this year. So my first tip is you must always check your address where you're sending your case every single time that you mail a case to immigration. Do not assume that the address you used last time is the correct one. So I simply Google, I find that's the easiest way. I-130 direct filing address, I-485 direct filing address. I carefully read the chart. Sometimes I spend 5 to 10 minutes studying the address chart to make sure that my client's case is going to go to the right field office, service center, or lockbox. The second thing to know about these addresses is that they continually change the jurisdiction. So for example, when I first started practicing immigration law, many of my cases went to the Vermont Service Center because we're located in Georgia. My client was in Georgia. Now, these days, a lot of those same cases, we haven't moved, the client hasn't moved, but we're mailing them to California. So that's the second thing to know, is that even though your address is not changed, the jurisdiction of the service center may have changed. That's why you always need to check your address every single time. Second tip for you to avoid a rejection is to go and look up the current requests from immigration. So we've had 2 recent ones that I'm following up on. One is a request that we not send in cases that are fastened together, no staples, no paper clips, no echo fasteners. What I'm doing these days is I just put together a file. Let me show you actually. And the only thing I'm using is rubber bands. There is no paperclip included in this gigantic application. That's what they want. So you look and see what are the best practices that immigration has asked us to do. That's going to help you. It's also going to help immigration properly scan your application. The last thing that I strongly recommend is that you go through each form and make sure that all the pages are present in the forms. These forms are getting longer and longer. What used to be 4 pages is now 20 pages, for example. And it's very easy to make a mistake and forget to put in one of the pages. So before we mail out any case, which is what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to go through one by one and check every single page to make sure all the pages of the form is present. The other thing that we're noticing is that some rejections are coming because immigration says you need to send in separate checks instead of one check for all of the applications. My best practice as of the making of this video is that I send in one check which includes the filing fee and the biometrics fee. For example, a check for $1,225 for the I-485 adjustment of status application. I have noticed this recently. People are getting rejections and they're saying immigration wants separate checks. But maybe what they were doing is sending in one check which includes the I-130 fee plus the I-485 fee. I send in one check per application, but I'm not going to trust on my past experience because that can cause problems. I'm going to go back now that I see there's a trend happening, and I'm going to go look and see, do I need to start sending in a separate check for the filing fee and then another check for the biometrics fee? So it's always a learning curve. Don't assume that you have this information correct just because you filed a case in the old days. Keep updating your knowledge, and that is going to help your case make it through the mailroom. As always, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and let us know if you need help with your case.